maintenance people out here, and the first group of maintenance men we had come out that came down to look at the drain asked me questions. Does the toilet flush? The toilet flushes fine. Have you ever had a problem? No. They tried to get the lid off of the access down to the sewer down in my basement and weren't able to get the lid off. But at that time I was told, hey, you know, as long as the toilets flush okay, you never had this problem, you'll probably never have this problem again. It was just a freak rain.
Mm-hmm.
Consequently, 2 weeks later, we get a freak rain again. So.
You don't think it was an act of God?
I don't think it was an act of God. I think it's an act of poor planning, poor maintenance, or something. It's not something that happens every day, and it rains in Oregon. It rains a lot in Oregon.
You think they should know it does that?
Yeah, I think we can agree on that.
How have your relations in your contacts with the city? Are they seem to be trying to be helpful? Or are they?
Yeah, it's kind of a lackluster helpfulness. We've told you that the sewer works okay. There's not much else we can do for you. Sorry. If you want to stop the problem, put the device in. Well, you know, it doesn't stop there. The device is just, it's not the cure for the problem.
Yeah.
It's just a remedy for one of the symptoms.
Do you think it's a systemic problem with the sewers and the storm drains in this area?
It's something that needs to be looked in further and corrected if it can be corrected.
Do you have any particular, outside of trying to recover some of your loss, do you have any other particular things you'd like to see come out of this?
I would like to see them pay a little closer attention to the planning of these types of situations so that they don't happen again. Mm-hmm. And to not just be put on the back shelf just because I live in St. John's. I'm sure if the mayor's office had this problem, it'd be lickety-split fixed, or the mayor's home. Mm-hmm. But because we live in St. John's, we feel like we're shoved off to the side a little bit, and I don't feel that's fair.
Okay, there's what I hear you saying is that you would hope that in the future the city would be as alert to potential problems and as alert to are ready to solve problems as they arise, as in the other parts of the city.
Right, and just don't tell people that they're wrong or, you've done all you can do. Have a little more enthusiasm,
Did you try to get a hold of your insurance agent after this?
Yes, I did.
What did he tell you?
It states right on my policy that this is exempted from their coverage. Mm-hmm. I called them the other day and talked to the gal, and she said she'd ask the agent if he would send me a letter stating that this was not covered in my policy.
Okay,
I haven't heard from him or gotten it yet.
Yeah, did you talk to the city or any of the city bureaus after this?
Yes, they sent us a claim form. Mm-hmm. And told us that they wouldn't accept any responsibility for it.
What bureau were you talking to?
We got a form from, it must be the
Risk Management Bureau?
Yeah, Risk Management. Mm-hmm. And I got a form and I filled it out and I sent it in. Mm-hmm. And the next day it flooded again. We called them and got another form and sent it in. Mm-hmm. We also made an application for help from the city to put this deal in. Yeah. And I got the okay back for that, and as a matter of fact we're having plumbers coming out Friday to do that. But there's no guarantees on that it's going to prevent it the next time.
They've got
things now they call backup systems that wasn't available 26 years ago. They've never notified me about anything. I probably wouldn't have put one in until I found out what happened. All at once, I'm going to put one in. The city has a policy, if you call this guy, for $100, you can get one of these backup deals, and the city will pay you about $650, $750, something like that. Now, to me...
To have this installed.
Yeah, but how come they don't let people know? Why don't they can send notices in your phone bill about Sprint and all those. Why can't the Water Bureau send you a thing that this is available to you for $100 your cost, and then $650, $750 the city will pay for it? How come the city won't do something when I feel it's their fault?
Station for water, and what our contacts have been with the city and what information we have. And we'll turn it over to her next to run through that experience, following which Mr. Lang will fill in some additional information that we feel is relevant. And following that, we will leave the floor open for questions from any. At the end of the evening, we are going to raise the question as to what do we as citizens intend to do or want to do with regard.
I'm sorry. Will it help if I stand? Yeah. Okay. My systems that we have, and that includes the design of them, and the construction, and we contract with another city bureau to maintain them. What I'd like to do this evening is discuss with you what happened at the time that you suffered the damages, and tell you a little bit about what the city's responsibility is for things like this. What we believe happened is that on August 22nd and September 1st, we had some very intense rainstorms come through the Portland area. They were small in nature, they didn't cover the entire city. But the rain gauges that we have at our sewage treatment plant, which is just north of you, and over on the other side of the Willamette River in northwest Portland, recorded enough rain so that that much rain only falls about once every 100 years. And consequently, it was a very high, intense, but small, localized rainstorm. In Portland, most of the sewer systems take both sewage from homes and drainage from the streets through the same pipes. And in a rainstorm of that intensity, those pipes were never designed to carry that much water away from the neighborhood. Consequently, what happens is that unless you have some device at your home to prevent water from backing up into it, the water will back up into the street or into basements where pipes normally drain into those systems. It's very similar to a traffic problem. If you go to sporting events, when the event lets out, everybody gets in their car and rushes home, and the streets often are not designed to take that much traffic at one time, and so you sit in a situation waiting for traffic to clear. And that's very much what happens in the sewer lines when you have such a very intense, heavy rainstorm. The lines just can't clear all that water at once, and it sits in the lines and backs up, waiting for an opportunity to go through them. Since the time of that rainstorm, or those two rainstorms especially, we have inspected the system and we've analyzed the maintenance records. And what the inspection and the analysis of those records show is that that system was functioning as it was designed and intended to do. There were no broken or plugged lines, nor was there any other part of the system that we're aware of that was not functioning properly. At the present time, we're also doing an analysis of how much water that system can take, and whether there are areas in the system that perhaps need to be enlarged to fit within the standards that the city has for supplying these systems and services to the residents. We have records that 52 locations in this neighborhood have backup of this material into their basements. I trust that all of you have received information from the city, from the Bureau of Risk Management, responding to claims that you may have filed, and also informing you that there is the sewer backup device, which the city pays the largest cost or portion of that cost for you if you desire to have such a valve to help prevent future damage. And let me repeat again what that is. The city has a program in areas where we have combined storm sewers, where there can be backups of this nature, to assist you in installing a valve that will prevent the water from backing up into your home. We ask people that they pay the first $100 of the cost. The city will pay up to the next $750, which generally takes care of the cost of installing a valve. In some instances, the cost is higher than that, and again, we ask the residents or owners to pay any excess cost over that first $850. What I'd like to do now very briefly is tell you what the city's responsibility and action is in a situation like this. First of all, one of the unfortunate, and yet I think it's a necessary circumstance, is that the city does not pay for damages that incur to property when the system that it has installed functions as it was intended to. And to the best of our knowledge, the sewer system that you have here functioned as it was designed some years ago and as it was intended to function. There was, to our knowledge, there was no malfunction of that system. Under those circumstances, the city has a policy of not paying for any damages that may incur. And it's very similar again to that traffic congestion. Even though you suffer losses in terms of gasoline and lost time when you're in a traffic jam, the state, the city do not pay you for those losses. And I'm not trying to say that your loss and the damage you incurred was similar to that, because having this material back up in your basement is not a pleasant experience at all. It's a very undesirable thing to suffer. But in a very similar way, the city does not pay damages that occur when its sewer system or its street system or its water system is functioning as it was designed to do so. And again, to the best of our knowledge, this system functioned as it was supposed to. We do encourage, and I'll answer questions in just a second, if you don't mind. We do encourage people who live in areas where these backups can occur to install one of the backflow devices. And we trust that the program we have, which basically pays for most of the cost, is one that you take advantage of if you feel that this may occur again. I'm interested to know, by the way, in a few minutes, if any of you have suffered this type of damage previously. It's an important piece of information for us to know, and we track this type of information so that we now design the system as best we can to handle things within the financial resources that the city has. Lastly, what we do in a circumstance like this is, again, analyze the system that is here and determine if there are areas which should be improved to handle more runoff, more sewage than what it can presently do. I think all of us, when we are at our place of residence or business, would prefer that nothing like this ever occur. But I think we also realize that there are many decisions we make in life that sometimes puts us at risk. If we designed a system here that would never, ever have a backup in it, or always be able to take care of the runoff, the cost would probably be prohibitive to accomplish. And so the way we design systems like this is to expect on occasions there will be damage like this. For that reason, we encourage the use of the backflow prevention devices. What we're doing now is, again, analyzing the ability of the sewer system that's in this neighborhood to handle rainfall, drainage, and sewage. And if we find that, according to the standards we have, it's incapable of doing that, then we will attempt to rebuild it or improve its capacity as we have funds to do so. So let me summarize real fast. First of all, you certainly experienced a very undesirable circumstance, and it's not one that we like to have occur. But it is one that does occur occasionally, because to design a system to take all the runoff every time that it rains forever is expensively prohibitive to do, especially when we're all paying the bill through our sewer rates and charges and the bills you get along with your water bill. The city does not pay for damages that occur in a situation like this if the system that's there was functioning as it was intended to do so. If it's not broken, if it's not plugged, there's damages, the city does not pay for those. We do pay for most of the cost of a valve that will prevent this from happening again at your place of business or your home. We encourage you to spend that $100 and get that valve installed by a private plumbing contractor. We have analyzed the maintenance that occurred in the system, and we inspected the system again. To the best of our knowledge, it functioned as it was supposed to do so. We're presently analyzing the ability of the system to handle runoff and drainage, and if it appears that it should be increased in capacity to meet the standards we now have, as opposed to the standards that perhaps were in place when this system was built, then we will attempt to finance and improve that system as we can do so with the money that's available to us. I realize those aren't great answers for you, but they're very candid and very honest answers, and I'd like to answer questions that you have.
Okay, could I ask if you have a question? Please raise your hand, and if you could please stand up so that we can hear you. Sir?
I'd like to know, when was the last time you record showed you cleaned the sewers here? And I have another question after that.
I'll give you the exact date, but I'd be glad to find that for you. I can guarantee you that there was cleaning of this system in the last year.
Well, I'd appreciate it if you find that out for us, because I don't think anyone's been around here in quite a while to clean the sewers. Another question is, you stated that you're analyzing the capacity of the sewer. You're telling us that when the sewer was